Hey everyone. We got so for those who have been following the news recently, this past actually yeah past yes yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
this past yesterday,
Less than 24 hours ago.
we learned of
Well,
the
wait.
tragic news of Stanley's passing.
Oh, yeah. But it has been 24 hours, hasn't
Yeah, around
it? Yeah. Stan the man has passed away at the age of 95.
there. Yeah, long,
Yeah, good.
fun life.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, he lived a good long life, and as much as you can hope for a life in anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just so we're basically just a little tribute to Stan Lee about what he's done for us and what he's done for many other people out there in the world.
Yeah, because um, a lot of people are mourning his death. Those in and out of the comic book community.
Right. And so, what year did I'm going to ask you a question? Do you know what year Stan Lee actually became the man that most people know? Like when he started Marvel?
1961, from what I heard. Yeah, he created Marvel with Jack Kirby,
Yeah.
and with that came along creation of the Fantastic Four, and then another man joined in on the fun named Steve Ditko, and along with Steve Ditko, Stanley created characters like Doctor Strange, Black Panther, the Hulk, and of course Spider-Man. Oh, and the X-Men too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Stan Lee has done this forever, and now I'm glad that he was around to see how far Marvel has come.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in comics, but in films. Obviously, the films. I think he would be. I think he is proud of what's happened, how big his contribution has become.
Yeah.
So, just what can you say about Stan Lee that other people haven't said already about him? Just that he was one of those guys that just I would love to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
Just hear his stories, hear his life pretty much. The shit he's been through, not just how he started comics, just him.
Yeah, I would have loved to pick his brain on like
and,
ideas for characters and just.
And he was a veteran too, wasn't
Yeah, he was in the army.
he? Yeah. So. But you gotta admit, he actually came on strong. Like everyone had.
Oh yeah.
He after his wife passed, everyone thought.
Yeah.
He would go right because died of a broken heart, sort of thing.
Well, that's what happens when you're like with couples that are married for quite a long time. That's what usually happens.
Yeah, but he still hangs on, which is great. Just the fact that he was 95 though is like good for him.
Yeah.
As you can see here, we have a little Spidey plushie. Thank you, Matt, for bringing him.
Yeah. That would be appropriate.
Yeah, this feels appropriate. So, what do you think that you said you have a few things that you want to share about Stan Lee?
Yeah. Well, for one, I've like some quotes and everything. You may notice that I'm wearing a Batman hat. He's like, "Why are you wearing Batman? Why are you talking about Marvel?" Well, Stanley actually did write some stuff for DC Comics. He actually wrote a series called Just Imagine, where he took famous characters like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and so on, and he reimagined them, changed their backstory and their names. For Batman, he was changed to Wayne Williams, and he was actually African American. His dad was, instead of being like an entrepreneur and a doctor, he was actually a police officer, and he was killed in an ambush.
Right.
And Wayne himself was actually framed for the death.
Okay.
And so he's taken to prison, and he vows revenge on the person who did kill him, who goes by the name of Hands. And so he goes to prison. He meets this guy named Frederick Grant, who's pretty much he's a scientist.
Right.
and from then on, the two become friends. Wayne actually decides to become a wrestler, and his wrestler name is Batman. So yeah, and then when he gets out of prison, he vows revenge on Hans, goes after him, kills him with the help of Grant, because Grant's the one who actually he's the one who develops the technology that he uses, and then after he fulfills his duty of revenge on Hans, he decides to uh, he decides to live a life of justice and in Gotham.
Wow. So yeah, Stanley has been like his most I think the best character he's known for is Spider-Man.
Fantastic Four.
Spider-Man is obviously the big one because
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Well, to us, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. One thing I love that, like, one of the things I feel like one of the things that made him big, it was also one of the smallest things, was his cameos in every Marvel movie.
Yes. Yeah.
That was one of the things like who is this guy that always appears? He's like 2 seconds and he appears in every Marvel
Yeah.
film.
Who's this who's this beardy
Old guy.
old amazing dude?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the first cameo I ever saw him in was Spider-Man 3.
Okay.
And that's one of his best.
Yeah.
cameos.
Yeah. That was he talks directly to Peter Parker in that
I
one.
think that maybe it is true that one man can make a difference.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah. That really speaks to.
Those are one of his longest cameos.
Yeah. I was gonna say that really speaks to just him as a person. Stan.
And also my other favorite Spider-Man cameo is the Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
He makes
Where
some
he's in a restaurant.
Yeah, he's like, love seeing kids together.
Yeah.
You always were my favorites. It's almost almost breaking the fourth wall with Stanley because I think he does like Mary Jane and Peter as a couple.
Oh, he loves Mary Jane and Peter as a couple.
Yeah. What's your favorite cameo from him?
I mean, the like you have your like the Spider-Man 3 one's a good one.
Yeah.
Like just because he's actually talking to Peter Parker in that one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of and him talking to Peter Parker is partly what also inspires him to get back into crime fighting.
Yeah. Did he?
I'm pretty sure.
I can't remember.
Like it's what helps him change and stuff like that.
What do you remember?
And I remember the Deadpool one. That's because I was just recently.
Who's the bouncer?
Yeah.
No, not the bouncer. The DJ.
Yeah. There are a few ones that I like. I would say like my favorite one's probably the Spider-Man 3 one, just because of like just the how personal it was.
Yeah.
But then you have like the fun ones that you just remember, like
You got the
Iron Man. I guess misidentifying him as Hugh Hefner, which is great.
That's funny. Remember the Age of Ultron one? He took a drink of Thor's drink, or whatever.
Oh right,
Remember Thor put something in his glass and he walks away because he's like hungover. He's like Excelsior.
Yeah. Well, he got drunk. Yeah.
Also, what is that quote from? Why does he say Excelsior?
Excelsior.
Yeah.
It's actually like Stanley is a man who's very, very deep in New York.
Yeah.
And that's actually a New York motto. It's actually on the seal in New York.
Okay.
And it means basically upward and onward to greater glory. So basically in the same sense of reach for the sky.
Great power comes great responsibility. So
Not so much like not so much that, but like more along the lines of aim high, dream big, go for it kind of stuff. Like don't be afraid, go for it.
Yeah.
Which is like really, really good. And it kind of like especially considering like he was creating comic books at a time when comic books weren't really that popular.
Yeah.
So like it really shows that like if you know what you want to do, don't be afraid to go for it because you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
And well, look, he created an empire. Like
he's changed. I think because of his. Since Marvel movies are now big because of the comic books, in a way, he's sort of changed cinema.
well, I mean, yes, because without him, we wouldn't have the MCU.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
And it's really, like that's what most films are copying nowadays.
yeah. Well, most big blockbuster films, yeah.
Yeah, like just yeah. So if it wasn't for Stanley's vision, we wouldn't have films like Iron Man. We wouldn't have films like Infinity War. We wouldn't have all these
Yeah.
Black Panther.
We wouldn't have those characters.
So love them or hate them, they mean something to people.
Yeah.
Actually, you want to know who? I watched something the other day. A guy was on like a radio talk show or something. I watched like it was a very small clip. So a guy was on the phone talking to I think one of the. He was like a sports guy. So
Yeah.
he's like, "Hey man, Stan Lee passed away. Do you have anything to say about that?" He's like, "Who?" Stan Lee. Who's Stan Lee? And the guy tell him like, "Oh, like he invented like he's like the superheroes, like he invented Spider-Man and all that." And then he straight up says, "Oh, who cares?"
Wow.
Yeah, like I don't care if you're not a fan. Why the don't say that to someone? Oh, he did? Yeah, who cares? That's pretty.
Yeah, especially live on TV.
Yeah. And he thinks he's as big as Stan Lee is.
No.
No, he's not. I don't even know who his name. But he was in. I saw on Twitter. He was just just as if someone would say that. Like you don't have to like
Yeah.
superhero films, but like.
But like well, you don't have to like superheroes in general. But
The fact
if someone says like this person died, be like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, like fine.
Like
Like if someone just.
yeah, like he's inspired a lot of people. There's this show, Comic Book Men, which
Kevin
was
Smith and all that.
Kevin Smith, yeah, and Stanley actually appears in one of the episodes. And in the last little bit, like the guys are talking about like they literally go up and ask him like, all right, who would win in a fight, Thor or Hulk? And as he starts talking, they all start sitting, like just they're like kids looking up to a grandfather or their hero or something,
Right.
and it's just they turn into like just him talking, like he's sitting on the counter and just him talking. They turn to little kids again.
Yeah.
They, grown ass like 40, 50-year-old men
Yeah.
turning into kids again
Yeah.
because their legend is talking to them about like their favorite heroes. And the thing he says is actually really kind of funny. He actually talks about how he would try to make the fights as balanced as possible so that it would create the spark for debate. And so like it would, and I quote, he said like it would get me off the hook. And I like that's a very human answer, and it just shows like the humor and how fun of a guy he was.
But and also back in 1968, he did an essay talking about the evil of racism.
Yeah.
And sadly, it still contributes to this day. But he was very outgoing. I want to say.
Yeah.
Influential.
Mhm.
And I think that's obviously what made him stand out, which
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I think we all know was that when you look at the films, like you guess his age. He's probably like, I always guess like, I thought he was 70 something in the first Avengers movie.
In 2012?
The first Iron Man movie, sorry.
Oh, first Iron Man movie?
I thought he was like 70 something. Then
No, he was like 80.
I know. I was like, oh fuck, that's
Yeah.
good. Like I never would have guessed because, like he still looks like he could kick my ass.
Yeah. Like, I like we're talking about how important he was to us. Like in that regard,
Like
he co-created like one of my favorites. I don't know if it's one of your favorites, but like my second favorite character, second favorite superhero is Spider-Man.
Who's your first?
Well,
You don't want to say it in this video?
oh, I'm wearing it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But to be fair,
It's fine. Don't worry. He's my favorite too.
yeah. But second doesn't mean like it's
No,
worse.
second is
It
terrible.
just but like I will say though that although Batman is my favorite, Peter Parker and Spider-Man is the hero I relate to most.
That's what a lot of people would like. That's what for a lot of people really. That's one
Yeah.
thing that made him big.
Yeah.
Something that made
And-
Spider-Man stand out was that he could relate.
Yeah.
That he was relatable. So
And so for that, like, Spider-Man will always hold a special place in my heart because, I mean, I remember sitting down with like just on like a Saturday afternoon watching Spider-Man the animated series back when I was a little kid back in the '90s, and he produced that along with Avi Conrad.
yeah, he was, and he produced the Marvel films, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. So, you know what's gonna bug me now? So, for cameos, Avengers 4 will probably be his last one.
It will be his last one, and
Unless-
I'm hoping I'm hoping it's a big one just because like it's Avengers 4, so you expect something big. Like it probably will just be a normal one, which will be fine.
I always hoped. I told you this yesterday. I want him to be the one above all.
Yeah.
The one above all is the god of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
He, the one above all, created the Living Tribunal,
Mhm.
the Beyonders. Like he's God. I would just love it if Kevin Feige just went on to where it said Stanley confirmed as the one above all.
Yeah,
That explains why
Well,
he's
I-
always there.
yeah. Or just wait till the movie comes out and then it's revealed. Then I think it'll be better for a surprise then.
Maybe. You know what sucks? Probably at the end of the credits, it'll be like dedicated
In memory
to
of Stan,
in
it'll be
Stanley.
in memory of Stanley. Yeah.
So instead of Avengers Will Return, it'll be dedicated to Stanley.
Yeah, I think that's how this can end it. Yeah.
I would love it to end like that. It would work better.
Yeah.
Just so yeah. So it'll be. Okay. So I don't know what's gonna happen now with. I don't think. Well, there's gonna be no more cameos from now on for any other movies.
No. Well, his last movie cameo is Venom right now. So far, which actually wasn't. It was a good one too.
Yeah, it was a fun one. I like that one. So But even after the fact that he hadn't gone, even after his wife passed, was like
Yeah.
still pretty good. His wife passed 2 years ago or a year ago.
I'm not sure. Somewhere around then.
Yeah. So
But yeah.
I got nothing else to say.
I got a few things. Well, another cameo that popped into my head. Well, two of them. The Fantastic Four, like the one that Chris Evans was in. He was a mailman with Lou Ferrigno, which was great.
Yeah.
And also like Stanley was also like he just loved being a part of like he just loved being a part of like everything in pop culture. He was actually in The Simpsons.
Yeah. I remember that.
And he actually makes a joke where he actually rips his shirt and he was like, "I am the Hulk."
He was in Teen Titans Go.
Yeah.
He was in Big Hero 6.
Yeah, like he was that dude's dad. T.J. Miller's character's dad. But what's funny about one of the other cameos is like in The Incredible Hulk, the one with Ed Norton, where he drinks a gamma radiated drink.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's almost like a tie into the Simpsons, where he's like, "I am the Hulk," and it's almost like he turns into the Hulk by drinking. It's like that's almost like a tie-in cameo right there.
I like it in the
Cameo reference.
Avengers movie. His cameo's like superheroes in New York. Give me a
Break. Yeah, that was a good one too.
Infinity War, he's a bus driver. I wish he had a bigger role now. I wish his cameo wasn't just a bus driver.
Yeah. Well, like it's kind of funny. Like I remember I remember you and I debating because we went to see it together. I remember you and I debating what his cameo was gonna be.
I
And
was
I'm
like,
like,
it's probably gonna be. It's Infinity War. It's gotta be a bigger role.
I'm like, no. He was like, I wonder if he's gonna be the bus driver. And he ended up being
It's
the
like
bus
there's
driver.
5 working. What made you think he was gonna be the bus driver?
I don't know. I just thought it'd be funny. I just thought it'd be like a fun cameo.
So what do you think his cameo would be for Avengers 4? Don't do your theories. Actually, who do you think he would be?
Who do I think he would be?
Yeah.
Like, are we just going random or are we going like big?
Well, you said for Infinity War bus driver. So what do you think he'll be for 4?
Like, I feel like if they're because Avengers 4 is going to be the end of the milestone. So I wonder if they do reveal something big.
I don't know.
Like maybe he sits down and talks to Iron Man. Maybe he sits down and talks to Captain America.
It just so happens he had like a long. He actually had lines in his in the film.
One that I kind of pictured in my head. I'm like, this would be kind of fun, although it wouldn't make much sense. He sits down and talks to Thanos. He just appears to Thanos and be like, dude,
chill,
dude, chill. No, but I honestly think he's gonna appear to Tony Stark.
He might.
Or he might be in the Soul Stone.
He could be. That'd
be kind of cool.
That could be his cameo.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more tragic because he's in the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
So.
But like maybe he's like the new guide in the Soul Stone.
I don't know what he'll be, to be honest. I hope it's like just like any other cameo, to be honest.
Well, yeah, that's what it probably will be.
Yeah.
But it's always fun to theorize.
It is always fun. Yeah. So yeah, I got nothing else to say. Do you?
Well, yeah, I got some quotes.
All right, let's go.
Okay. Actually, going back to the whole racism thing. This is a thing called Stan's soapbox.
Soapbox.
Yeah, it's pretty much where he just went off the rails.
Oh.
Okay. So he says he basically just talked about stuff that he wouldn't usually talk about. Let's lay it right on the line. Bigotry and racism are among the deadliest social ills plaguing the world today. But unlike a team of costume supervillains, they can't be halted with a punch in the snoot or a zap from a ray gun. The only way to destroy them is to expose them, to reveal them for the insidious evils they really are. The bigot is an unreasoning hater, one who hates blindly, fanatically, indiscriminately. If his hang-up is black men, he hates all black men. If a redhead once offended him, he hates all redheads. If some foreigner beat him to a job, he's down on all foreigners. He hates people he's never seen, people he's never known, with equal intensity, with equal venom. Now, we're not trying to say it's reasonable for one human being to bug another, but although anyone has the right to dislike another individual, it's totally irrational, patently insane, to condemn an entire race, to despise an entire nation, to vilify an entire religion. Sooner or later, we must learn to judge each other on our own merits. Sooner or later, if man is ever to be worthy of his destiny, we must fill our hearts with tolerance. For then, and only then, will we be truly worthy of the concept that man was created in the image of God, a God who calls us all his children. And then,
damn.
Especially considering he put venom in there, makes me wonder if that's what he based venom around too.
Well, I think maybe put venom in because he created Venom, the character Venom. So he sort of.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, so maybe like that's where he based venom around. Like apart from being like attached to a spider and poison, but maybe like
the Stan Lee named the symbiotes after like this chaotic thing. So like Carnage, Venom, Toxin.
Oh yeah.
Riots.
But like how
Scream.
How venom can possess somebody and change their personality.
And how like Venom.
As it changed Peter Parker's personality over time and Eddie Brock's.
And how Chaos is Carnage. Like it's just.
Yeah.
It's like so he based the symbiote names are literally based off like evil things.
Yeah.
Like the evil names, like Riot.
Yeah.
Riots.
Yeah. And another thing that I think I think this quote is something to go out on, up along with something else. This quote was said by Stanley. I used to quote. I used to be embarrassed because I was just a comic book writer with other people, while other people were building bridges or going on to medical careers. And then I began to realize, entertainment is one of the most important things in people's lives. Without it, they might go off the deep end. I feel that if you're able to entertain people, you're doing a good thing. And how basically how at times of war and at times when we feel lost, it's important that it's like entertaining people is an important vocation because it brings joy to people in a time of
Yeah. Yeah.
despair,
Yeah.
and that's important because those are the things that keep people fighting.
Yeah.
And I guess all there is to say is that Stan did entertain people with his words and ideas for decades, and his legacy will live on forever.
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll end it there.
Well, guys, I guess if there's anything to learn from this,
Fulfill your dream.
yeah, upward and onward to greater glory. Excelsior.
Yeah. So, is it any other quotes? Is that it?
And that's it.
That's
I was gonna end it on Excelsior.
it? Well,
So yeah, we can end it on Excelsior.
we could. Well, hang on. So,
Unless you have something else to say.
you'll see. So, thank you for watching. If you have, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just a little thank you to Stan Lee for inspiring us, and we'll miss him. So, yes, thank you. And
If there's anything to learn from this, from Stan and the way he lived his life, his legacy, and his works, I guess it'll be upward and onward.
to greater glory.
Excelsior.
Thanks for watching.
Good night, guys.